What's going on, guys? Victor here with a brand new video, and I gotta talk about an interesting fight that has just been announced this week that will be taking place at UFC 264, and I had to talk about this fight a little bit early just because of how interesting it's going to be. It is the return of the Motown Phenom, Kevin Lee. He is officially back. He's been out for more than a year, having to deal with double knee surgery. Yes, he tore his ACL on both of his knees, and he's been rehabilitating for the majority of the time ever since both of those accidents have occurred. Now he's back in the gym, now he's training, and he's going to be moving up to welterweight once again. And his fight, like I said, the first fight that he took at welterweight was against a former welterweight title challenger in RDA, Rafael dos Anjos, and he ended up losing that fight. Now, this fight coming up in welterweight is against another tough challenger, and I believe this individual is going to be fighting for the title soon in the future. If not by the end of the year, I say it's going to happen in the first quarter of 2022. This individual is Sean Brady, straight out of Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. Sean Brady is undefeated with a 14-0 record. Half of his wins have been by finish. 3 knockouts, 3 submissions. His last one was against Jake Matthews in UFC 259 in March of this year, and it was a very, very impressive victory. Obviously, he was being outclassed on the feet a little bit while giving some damage back to Jake Matthews, but once a fight got to the ground, it was all Jake Matthews. His pressure, his jiu-jitsu, his experience on the ground led him to a victory. I believe he won by rear naked choke, and it was a very, very nice submission. It was a very nice victory and a great finish overall to be able to propel himself higher in that welterweight division. Now he's got his chance to make a name for himself against the Motown Phenom, Kevin Lee. Obviously, Kevin Lee is a former title challenger in the UFC lightweight division, but things have not been going his way. He's 2-3 in his last 5 fights. Kevin Lee, who boasts an 18-6 record, 8 of his wins have been by submission. So he is very, very well-rounded mixed martial artist, but he's very good on the feet. He hasn't had any knockouts in a while, and this whole entire 18 career wins in this whole entire MMA career, he only has 3 wins by TKO/KO, so he's not known for knocking guys out. Like I said, Sean Brady has 3 as well, so both these guys are equal when it comes to that. So I believe we're going to see a lot of scrambling when it comes to this fight, but if you ask me, if I tore both my ACLs and had to spend the majority of 2020 rehabilitating to get back into the flow of things in 2021, knowing that I'm going to move up a weight class because I have a lot of trouble making weight at 55, why am I going to take a fight against a killer such as Sean Brady, who's so well-rounded as a mixed martial artist, that is very highly touted and has a lot of hype behind him? The guy's from Philadelphia. Philadelphia is not known for producing a lot of mixed martial artists aside from Chris Dawkins and Paul Felder, the recently retired Paul Felder. Congratulations on a great career, Paul Felder. Definitely represented the city of brotherly love with everything you had. Definitely fought with everything. Give it your all. Give it your whole entire heart, your whole entire being every single time you went out there and represented the city and put the city on your whole entire back. So now that Paul Felder's gone, Sean Brady is basically the next one that Paul Felder is going to basically pass the torch on to when it comes to representing the city of Philly. And I forgot to mention Eddie Alvarez as well, the best representative out of Philly. And Sean Brady actually trains with both those two individuals. Paul Felder has helped Sean Brady multiple times with multiple of his camps, and Sean Brady also helps out Eddie Alvarez with some of his camps, and Eddie Alvarez does the same thing, vice versa. So he trains with killers, he trains with MMA legends, and he trains with a great supporting staff behind him. And with that kind of supporting staff, it's not going to be that hard to succeed in mixed martial arts. Like I said, the guy is 14-0. 7 of his wins have been 5 finish. So this guy doesn't like to be in there for the full distance. He doesn't like to have his fate in the hands of the judges, because there's always a possibility that they can be able to screw you over and not give you that W. Sean Brady is a killer. His pressure on the ground is absolutely insane. But Kevin Lee, like I said, he's a very well-rounded grappler, former Division I wrestler, and his jiu-jitsu is no joke. His wrestling is great, but we haven't been able to see a lot of that wrestling lately. We've just been seeing some striking. And like I said, Kevin Lee's last loss was in Brazil in March of 2020. The last fight card before the pandemic in 2020 began against the current UFC lightweight champion of the world, Charles Oliveira, Charlie Olives, as I like to call him myself. And that fight wasn't even close at all. Oliveira was just starching him on the feet. He kept on catching him with some flying knees. Kevin Lee was trying to go in for a takedown, and Oliveira basically sunk his hand underneath the chin of Kevin Lee and sunk in that guillotine as tight as he possibly could and got that submission. I believe it was in the second or third round. But like I said, it was a masterclass performance from Charlie Olives. Kevin Lee did not look like himself. Kevin Lee has been trying to find a camp that can be able to suit his needs, a camp that can be able to get him to 100%, getting him to where he needs to be in his career, because there was a lot of hype on Kevin Lee when he took that fight against Tony Ferguson for the vacant UFC lightweight. Actually, it wasn't even the vacant UFC lightweight championship of the world. It was for the interim UFC lightweight championship of the world, because Conor McGregor was the champion at that time. He wasn't defending his belt. He wasn't staying active, and the UFC decided, let's create this interim belt and let's put Tony Ferguson, who was the rightful heir to be the next one to fight for that title, against Kevin Lee, who was ranked about 6 or 7 at that time. So there's a very rare opportunity for someone such as Kevin Lee, who was ranked in that kind of a low position in that stacked weight class, to be able to get a title shot. But he took Tony to the limit for those 2 rounds. He's able to get him down to the ground, and he was able to hit him with some ground and pound, and he was also able to get Tony in some very uncomfortable positions before Tony was able to finish the fight via triangle choke. But the thing with Kevin Lee is that he had a staph infection, so his stamina was depleted extremely fast. So obviously his cardio was depleted, and he got tired extremely fast. So like I said, in that time span, Kevin Lee was on a roll. Kevin Lee was on fire. He was touted as one of the best up-and-coming lightweights in the whole entire world. And then after that fight against Tony Ferguson, he just kept on going up and down, up and down, up and down. And now he's in this position right now where he's going up in weight once again. He's going to face Sean Brady. Is this the smartest move for Kevin Lee, especially coming out of double ACL surgeries on both of his knees? Not at all. If you ask me, I don't think that Kevin Lee is going to win this fight. If you ask me, Sean Brady has a lot of hype coming into this fight. He has more intangibles. He has more weapons than Kevin Lee. He's going to be a little bit impaired when it comes to his movements. He's basically going to be fresh off of rehabilitation, for crying out loud. He's been rehabilitating his knees for the past year or so. And now he's coming back to fight someone such as Sean Brady, who is a very well-rounded, he is the real deal mixed martial artist who's very nasty on the ground, and his hands are also good as well. He's a very gritty fighter, and his cardio is through the roof, and he will take you into deep waters. He will take you into the trenches and make sure that he gets that victory. And we have seen Kevin Lee wither in the past performances against people that put on a lot of pressure against him. So if I'm Kevin Lee, I'm going to try to work with the hands, because Kevin Lee, out of these 2 individuals, definitely has the more power. We've seen that power demonstrated in the past. If I'm Kevin Lee, I'm going to keep this on the feet. I'll make sure that I'm moving at all times, making sure I'm cutting angles and confusing Sean Brady. That way, if he comes to shoot in, I can be able to invade. I can be able to sprawl, because, like I said, Kevin Lee used to be a Division I wrestler before he gave that up to become a mixed martial artist. Use my wrestling skills against Sean Brady and use my wrestling defense to keep myself on the feet, because I'm going to have disadvantage on the ground. I'm going to want to get this fight against the cage and make it ugly, because Sean Brady doesn't have as many fights as Kevin Lee does. Kevin Lee is 18-6. He has more fights then he has double the fights, almost triple the fights that Sean Brady does in this whole entire career. So experience is going to be on Kevin Lee's side. So I'm going to want to keep this on the feet. I'm going to want to make this into an ugly fight, but also be technical at the same time. You want to make this into a chess match. You want to keep Sean Brady guessing, and you want to be 2 to 3 steps ahead of him the whole entire time. You don't want to get sloppy with any of your mistakes, because the slightest mistakes can cause you a mistake with Sean Brady. If I'm Sean Brady, I'm going to want to basically get this to the ground, and if I can't get this to the ground, I'm going to want to go after the knees of Kevin Lee, because those knees are recently surgically repaired. So I'm definitely going to want to go for some calf kicks and also some quad kicks as well, maybe impair those knees and make Kevin Lee a little bit more hesitant, a little bit more pressured, a little bit more scared, because he's not gonna want to take any damage to his knees, which means that he's gonna be scared, and he's gonna probably think that they're gonna come after his knees, so he's gonna do something else, and that's where Sean Brady is gonna want to make those adjustments right there, and he says, oh, all right, if I want to throw this next strike to his knees, he's most likely going to do this. He's most likely going to vary to the left or right, so I'm going to make sure I'm going to have to catch him with a hook or with an uppercut. Also, if I'm Sean Brady, I'm going to want to work some combinations in there. I'm going to want to work to the body. I'm also going to want to work to the head. Also get some flying knees in there at the same time. And if Kevin Lee's going to try to go in for a takedown, I'm going to want to try to go in for that guillotine, just like how Charles Oliveira did. If I'm Kevin Lee, I'm going to want to make sure I protect my chin and keep my chin tucked in whenever I'm going to go in for a takedown, because that guillotine is always going to be there. It's always going to be present if you're not smart with the takedowns. And like I said, Sean Brady is a very well-rounded mixed martial artist. He's a very good wrestler, a very good BJJ artist as well. So if I'm Kevin Lee, if I'm going in for those takedowns, and Kevin Lee's a very powerful individual, he's got a lot of power, he's got a lot of strength on him, then if I'm going to go for the takedown, go for the double leg, pick him up, watch out for the guillotine, watch out for the choke. If you see it's going to go there, then obviously evade, disengage, reset, go back to the middle of the octagon. Like I said, Kevin Lee's best chances are on the feet, while Sean Brady's best chances are going to be on the ground. But Sean Brady can always catch Kevin Lee on the feet, because Kevin Lee has been rocked plenty of times in the past. He got rocked against Charles Oliveira. He got rocked against Edson Barbosa. He's gotten rocked against a lot of individuals in the past, and if I'm Sean Brady, I'm going to try to rock him, try to get him to the ground, and try to submit him as fast as I possibly can, because he has been submitted in the past multiple times as well. So obviously, if you ask me, I believe that Sean Brady is going to win this match. I believe this is a terrible matchup for Kevin Lee. It's a very, very hard matchup for Kevin Lee. Can Kevin Lee still win? There's a possibility, but all my confidence, all my faith is going to be going in the hands of Sean Brady, because this guy's a killer. He's an up-and-coming fighter, and he most likely has the best chances of winning the championship by the end of this year or early 2022. So I appreciate you guys for watching this video. How do you guys think this fight is going to go so far? Do you guys think that Kevin Lee made a huge mistake going up and weight to the welterweight division, even though it was going to happen in the future anyway, because he has a lot of problems making 55? Do you think it was a smart move to take this fight against Sean Brady? Do you guys think he should have picked someone ranked outside the top 15 to be able to kind of sway his way in there in that welterweight division a little bit easier, and then kind of work his way up and nice and slowly instead of trying to rush things? Also, do you guys also think that Sean Brady is an upcoming contender in that welterweight division? And who do you guys think that Kevin Lee should have faced instead of Sean Brady, if you guys think that this wasn't the smart matchup for him to take? Also, do you guys think that if Sean Brady wins this matchup, that Kevin Lee could possibly be shipped out of the UFC? Those are pretty much the only questions I have for you guys. Comment down there in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know about anything else you guys might think as well. Chime in, because I always love it when we got some good conversations on there. Appreciate you guys for watching this video. Stay safe, stay blessed, and I'll see you guys soon. Later.